And then this past Monday, I was stressed. But the result of my stress actually came through on Thursday. Isaac was there for the event that we did for Music Biz that came out extremely well. But it was a labor of love, and it was a lot. Like it was a lot. So I mean, it came out great. I'm super excited about the event itself, the recap videos, how they looked, the response to it, the response of the people who were in attendance, as well as the people who saw it after the fact. But man, a lot went into that, and I'm happy to take a break from that for a minute. So I was consumed with that last week, but I'm back this week and ready to kind of get rolling. Luckily, I don't have to do this call by myself. I'm joined by some of my smart, amazing, beautiful, funny, clever friends who are up on this stage. So shouts out to them. Shouts out to Gary, Noel, my boy City, Wilson over here, Jeff Sledge, Scale, Duran, Jermaine, and Isaac, who we should make Isaac a moderator, Gary, please, if we can. And then shouts out to everybody that's in the audience, everybody who jumped on early, that was anxious to get back. I don't know if my boy Bobby Cool is here, but I know Bobby was like, hey, it's been 2 weeks, y'all tripping. Get back. So shouts out to Bobby, Queen Mo. Thank you for always continuous support. I see Weeks down there, and just everybody in the audience who kind of joins us from week to week. I appreciate all y'all coming back after the hiatus. And like I said, we back. Before we get rolling though, Isaac, any updates on fan base we need to let people know about?
I have no updates. No, I'm kidding. We crossed 12 million in the raise, but I really want to close this raise by my birthday, so I'm working on um, trying to close this raise in the next 10 to 14 days. So that's about it. Because then after that, a whole bunch of other stuff is gonna happen, but that's all I'm gonna say for right now.
Right.
Yep.
There it is. There it is. Okay. So let's jump right into it. I This call is based on a couple of things. With my cousin Bame, who I'm shocked is not on this call, Bame Joyner, who is normally on here. I'm sure he'll jump on in a second. Bame, a few years ago, floated a theory, and I haven't forgotten this because I thought it was like kind of, I don't know, I kind of thought it was preposterous at the time that he said it, but the more over the years, uh, I've kind of felt that statement that he made had a lot more credence than I initially gave it credit for. So the year was 2017, 18. My Atlanta people, y'all correct me because this is a moment I try to forget. But what was the year of 28-3 in the Super Bowl for the Falcons? Was that 18?
When? What? What? Who?
When the Falcons won the Super
2017.
Bowl? That was 17. Okay.
Just block that in my
So
memory.
yeah, me too. I try to check out on that one. But when the Falcons lost, my cousin Bame said, he said, we all lost out on a lot of great music because of that loss. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, do you know how many great records would have been made from just like that momentum and that energy of like Atlanta, feeling like, oh, we actually are champions. Like, Atlanta hasn't won anything. Falcons haven't won a Super Bowl. The Hawks haven't been to the finals ever that I can recall. I mean, definitely not in my lifetime. The Falcons have never won it. The Braves have won. So I mean, we do have the Atlanta Braves, but I mean, I think everybody on this call can. I think it's kind of common knowledge that the football and basketball are kind of more synonymous with on the urban side, right? You know what I'm saying? Like those are the sports that we tend to gravitate toward. And if you've ever seen a Braves game in Atlanta, it's a very diverse crowd, which I mean, kudos to us for having that diversity there. But when it comes to the Falcons games and the Hawks games, we are in full representation there. And he said, I can't imagine, the records that Future would have made, or, Thug, Gunna, Outcast, whoever, you know what I'm saying? Just that feeling of like Atlanta feeling like we're truly on top, because that's the one thing we haven't really had on our side, right? We haven't had that big sports moment. I guess maybe the Georgia Bulldogs would be the closest thing, but I mean, but let me give you context though. I'm born and raised here in Atlanta, and I grew up in Atlanta when not everybody, but like a lot of New Yorkers moved here, and I grew up in that era of every New Yorker being like, "This city ain't got this, and this city ain't like that, and y'all country and y'all slow." So I'm like, y'all moved to our city and are saying this to our face, and so like this was the source of a lot of conflict from my middle school days, high school days, on up into college. Like these were constant like physical fights. Like this wasn't just argument and banter back and forth. This was like there was like massive brawls at school behind this, right? So there's then this stark like thing between me and New Yorkers. Not trust. Many of my good friends are New Yorkers. Ray Daniels is my guy. He's a New Yorker, even though he claims College Park. He's from the Bronx. Jeff is on the call. Jeff is my man. Like there are a lot of people that I deal with on a daily basis for work that are just born and raised diehard New Yorkers, and I love y'all to death individually. But y'all sent some awful representatives from y'all home state down here and back in the 80s, 90s. And that, like I said, again, jokes, but kind of not, because like I said, that deep-seated little feeling in me is there. But I'm noticing, that energy starting to come back around of like, okay, like with the Knicks winning, you're starting to see not only New Yorkers, as they always do, poke their chest out, but you're starting to see the artists pop back out again. The Met Gala had a different type of energy. The fashion, the street fashion in particular, is starting to pop out a little bit more, and a lot of that has to do with the attention that's being put on the city. So there are more stories, there's more marketing, there's more coverage on what's happening. New businesses that are opening, new ideas that are springing forth from the city. And my question to you guys is one, is New York seeing a resurgence? I know some of y'all New Yorkers say we never left, and I mean, because that's what a typical New Yorker would do. We were always here, y'all. Listen, but I think we can say musically, the sound has shifted to the south. Maybe it's back in Cali, depending on who you ask. I don't know. Street fashion. I mean, a lot of things have become so ubiquitous with like we all kind of New York traditional streetwear, and a lot of things that were adopted. We're just starting to see like a difference in like what's happening around here. So like, New York and that energy kind of permeating in other areas, or is this just a quick sport? So I'll start with anybody.
Like the people going to these some guy who moved from Cleveland, last summer, and now he's in New York. This is real New York shit. And as far as the Met Gala, yeah, that's ASAP Rocky, that's Harlem, that's all Dapper Dan. That's the fashion thing we never left. We never left that. It's good to see it. See, like these playoffs, back to the sports, these playoffs would not be as exciting if the Knicks were in. I'm not saying the teams aren't good. That's not what I'm saying. But the energy that New York City brings every time the Knicks play is blowing the NBA up. Like I think I saw somewhere these are the highest rated playoffs ever as of now, and I think a lot of that's because of the Knicks and that's that story and that energy. Yeah, we in here, man. We in here.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's that statement that people make every year. They're like, the league is better when New York is, and you hear that sometimes, right? Baseball is better when the Yankees are playing, and it's like
Absolutely.
and of course, everybody from everywhere else is like, shut up. But but there is a thing because of the coverage, right? A lot of the media is in New York, so it does amplify things. And New York fans, as we all can attest to, you guys are loud, you guys are boisterous, you guys are energetic. Every year is your year. You all believe that this is the year that it's gonna happen. And so, like, oh my God, we can't wait to be like, I'm gonna just tell y'all straight up, best case scenario for me, Nick, is for New York to make it to the championship and y'all lose to Minnesota, to Anthony Edwards, who's from Atlanta. I would love to see that. Like, that is best case rating scenario. That is best case everything. I think the NBA may not care who wins it, but I think best case scenario is to have Ant-Man and Minnesota playing the
That's a
Knicks
story
in the
for sure.
championship. That's a
Oh yeah,
great, that's a
that's a
ratings
dream match.
boost for
That's a dream
everybody.
matchup.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's a dream matchup.
I
That's the one that every
think
sport. I'll be.
yeah.
Oh,
Go
go ahead,
for it.
sorry, go ahead.
no, I was
Go ahead. Go
gonna
ahead.
say now I'm in New York now. I live in Harlem. And I'm gonna say that
Hey,
New York definitely did fall off for a while. I think New Yorkers really like rely on the laurels. Like they think about what they did in the '90s, and they keeping this up when the rest of the world is literally catching up. Like I walk around in everyday fashion is like Aberrace jackets, and it's like, sir, like that's the '90s. Big old sweatsuits, sir. That's the '90s. So I don't. I think they are coming back though because of the Met Gala, because of New York, and not only the Knicks but the Liberty one. There was the Mets and the Yankees game this weekend. Like New York is on fire, so I do think they're coming back. But they kind of got left behind for a while. And there's even people who like are making TikToks and stuff saying that like, oh man, the South is looking like the North, and the North is looking like the South now. And it's like does kind of give Bama up here. Like every regular everyday clothing looks very Bama up here.
So what I find interesting about New York, I lived there for a very, very small amount of time, but I'm always going to New York. My wife went to fashion school there. She lived there as well. Is Now I'm not measuring it by this too, Jeffrey, so don't beat me in the head. But it's interesting how it's interesting how New York was driven by celebrity, and all of those celebrities live here in LA now. I mean, like literally all of them. So either it's going to be a new phase of the influencers and the creators, which we see now are becoming the new celebrities. It's obvious at this point that the influencers and the creators are the new celebrities, and they're going to drive the perception of what New York is. One for the natives, but also for the people that's moving there, because no matter if people like it or not, New York, Atlanta, Miami,